Okay, we are on Orbital Decay Turn number 10, and I'm electing to use an Explorer turn instead of a combat turn. And because we are using an Explorer turn, all Marines will have no cost movement, so they can move freely through any spaces controlled by humans. And since we have cleared the entire 0G portion of the Vesuvius, we are now going to advance into the microgravity environment of the ring. And to do that, we're going to have to access the lift car and ride that up to the ring. So the lift car can hold 8 humans at a time. So we have 12, 11 surviving Marines, and 1 crew member. Thornton and Cowan joined Garrison and Pruitt in the lift shaft corridor. They will hold that corridor. All 8 other Marines have entered car number 1, and they are going to ride that down the shaft up to the hatch that leads into this corridor here. And because that space is unoccupied by humans, they cannot free enter that using free movement, so they'll have to deploy. So that's the end of our human action phase. There's nothing to do in the alien action phase. Orbit phase. Let's move the timer from 10 to 9. And I'm only going to deploy 2 Marines from this stack, Koinski and Brooks. And they're going to deploy to that corridor. I'm trying to minimize exposure here in case we get a bad series of draws and rolls and 2 to 3 aliens. They get surprised. I want to minimize the number of Marines exposed to that. So we'll only put 2 in there. It's also real tight spacing, so missed shots have a good chance of hitting Marines the more we stack in that corridor. Okay, so that is the end of the orbit phase. Let's move into the discovery phase now. So we are using the ambush procedure because we deployed into an unoccupied space. And we roll the die, get a 2. So the 2 counters we draw from the bag, one is an item which goes back because we do not place items during an ambush procedure. And we also, one of the 2 is an alien, and a random series of rolls puts it right here, 2 spaces north of Koinski. And because we are in a 0G environment, we're in a gravity environment here, everything moves faster. And aliens can jog up to 6 and still attack, movement rate of 6, which is easily achievable in that short distance. So next thing we do, we roll to determine if the Marines are surprised. They have a 50% chance to be surprised, and unfortunately, that alien gets the jump on Koinski and Brooks. So it's going to jog 2 spaces, attack Koinski with a claw attack, and she suffers a down result. Okay, because Koinski was attacked and wounded, I flipped her counter over to reflect that her suit is now damaged. And if she's exposed to decompression, she is likely to perish if she's exposed to that situation in the future. But suits can be repaired. But right now her suit is damaged. She is down, unresponsive, and the alien is occupying a space next to Brooks. And that concludes the end of the discovery phase. Well, before we conclude it, let's go down here and check, because she was attacked and wounded. Suffered damage. All of her equipment is destroyed. And a downed alien we do not know the status of until we perform a check. So soon here, once we have that hallway cleared, we'll have one of the Marines perform a status check on her. But right now we'll leave her board that way. And that's the end of this turn. So we'll go into a combat turn and start the human action phase. Because Brooks is alone with an alien, the only active human, he checks for panic. He has a 50% chance to panic, and he does. So when a Marine panics, they automatically use panic fire, which is 3 shots from their weapon, and the outcome, regardless of what the status of those shots, the weapon is jammed and no longer usable until the jam is cleared. So that's kind of a bad thing, but the good thing is we get 3 shots. 2 of them hit, and 1 is a down result and 1 is a kill result. So the kill result takes precedent. The alien is dead. It sprays acid and hits Koinski with acid. She suffers a light wound, and when a light wound is combined with a down result, you still have a down result. If she suffered a more serious effect from that attack, it could have killed her outright, but she's still alive. Well, we don't know that. She's down, potentially alive, and that alien is gone. And the rest of the Marines are going to move into the corridor. It doesn't matter where we put them right now. This is cost movement, but because there are no other aliens or hostiles on the board, we'll just kind of put them around here, scatter them around right now. And that is the end of human action phase. Our Marines in the corridor will stay there. We don't do an orbit phase during combat turn. Nothing to do in discovery. So we are going to start an explore turn. Okay, we are on a explore turn during the human action phase. So free movement, where Marines control spaces. Got some Marines arranged here, ready to deploy. Coons also is able to check Koinski, and she is alive, but seriously wounded. So she is inactive the rest of the game. She won't be able to move on her own, fight, or anything like that. So she's still alive, which is good, but she's someone we got to take care of. So these Marines are ready to go. Over here in the corridor, Norton and Garrison are going to summon the lift car, have that come back. They'll take that up, and they will join over here, the corridor with everyone else. Coons is going to jump up here with that team. All right, so those two are still holding that corridor. Brooks has a jammed rifle, so he's going to be using his pistol. Yeah, and Koinski is seriously wounded. And we are moving along. Nothing to do here right now. Orbit phase. We'll move the timer from 9 to 8. And then we will deploy. Brooks and Pattison are going to deploy into the chem lab. Baldwin will stay outside to enter as backup if needed. And Lazinski and Kraus are going to deploy into that corridor. All right, that's it for the orbit phase. We'll move on to discovery. We roll a 2 up in the chem lab, and we get an icy foam event. So this is going to spray firefighting foam and knock out gas in that room. And it also gives the aliens a better chance to surprise. And big surprise, we do encounter an alien in there. So the alien has a better chance to surprise, and movement rate is halved for all units. And for any humans not protected by a spacesuit, they would undergo a knockout attack by gas during the turn, and that's immaterial at this point because both of those Marines have spacesuits. Okay, so we roll for surprise. We're fortunate the alien does not surprise us, and so we can move on from that room. And down here we roll for surprise. Sorry, we roll for encounter. We get a 1, draw an item, and since items are not placed during an ambush procedure, that's discarded. So basically we had a good roll here, good encounter draw, nothing happened. So to highlight something here, we deployed into 2 spaces. The corridor is always, every corridor you deploy into, you have to check using the ambush procedure, which makes it more likely to be surprised by any aliens you encounter. And in the chem lab, we use the discovery procedure, which means aliens are less likely to ambush you, and you can also you'll place any events, which could be dead crew, could be something like the icy foam system, and then any items. So that is the difference between those 2 deployments there during the discovery phase. And since we have an alien, we are going to flip this to a combat turn, and we are going to start the next human action phase. a beginning of the human action phase during combat turn. Pattison is going to take 2 shots with his rifle, a double fire, and he scores a hit and downs the alien. Now, I'm going to actually move Baldwin in there. He's going to walk in and open fire with his plasma gun, and that has a better chance of killing the alien than Brooks's pistol. Brooks's pistol won't kill the alien. So Baldwin takes a couple shots and achieves a down result and a kill result. So that alien is dead, and the acid spray is to no effect. There's no computer or person in there to be hit by it. So that's that combat, and we have no other aliens on the board, and no point in anyone else moving. So we are going to roll through all 4 phases of this turn and start an explore turn. Okay, it's Orbital Decay Turn number 8 and an explore turn of the human action phase. So I've conducted some free movement here and vacated the chem lab. It's been explored. I chose not to go into the storage room after our experience in the astrophysics lab in that small confined space. I feel it prudent to stay out of there. Aliens they have like a 66% chance to spawn right on top of you if you get any. So we're going to abandon that. We've got 4 Marines here, and then Norton and Koinski. Koinski, of course, is inactive and seriously wounded. And then another 4 Marines here in this corridor, and some of them are going to deploy to the machine shop. So when I'm conducting these deployments, I'm going to make sure that I leave a couple Marines behind, so I maintain control of as much interconnected space as possible. And also I need to leave at least 2 behind that are active so that I don't have to risk abduction checks. So Pattison and Brooks, that's our free movement, so let's go back here and do this. No alien action phase to worry about because we have more than 1 active human in every space. Orbit phase, let's move this timer from 8 to 7. And then Pattison and Brooks deploy into that corridor, and Kraus and Lazinski are going to deploy into the machine shop. And my goal here with the machine shop is to unjam Brooks's rifle, and you have better odds with a mechanic, which Lazinski is, and you have better odds of doing that in the machine shop. So we'll get 2 positive modifiers that should really help out in expediting unjamming his rifle. That's my primary goal for going in there. And up here, besides just in general exploring these spaces, I want to get to the computer room and access the RAM dump, and that should give us some more evidence for the account for some more crew members. So that's our orbit phase. We will now check for discovery, and up here we moved into a corridor, so we use the ambush procedure, roll and get a 1, and I draw 1 counter from the bag, and it is a robot, which we put back in the bag because it's not a live crew or alien. So anyway, good result there. Don't have to worry about an alien attack. And down here in the machine shop, we roll for no encounter, which is a 4, 5, or 6 on the die. So 2 positive entries there, deployments, and we will now start another explore turn in the next human action phase.